Hi, good morning, everybody. We'll just give everyone a minute or so to make sure they're all settled. So we've got 13 attendees on right now. That's excellent. Hope everybody's enjoying, at least on Long Island. There's some beautiful weather outside. I'm sitting, looking out my window at the leaves in my yard, thinking about how many bags I'm gonna have, getting rid of them. But it's a nice day out, that's for sure. Well, it's 2 after, so I guess we'll get started. Welcome, everybody. This is the Work in Water program informational session. My name is Bill Nylock. I'm the president of the New York Water Environment Association. And for those that aren't aware, hopefully you're on this session to find out more information about this program. But NIWEA is partnered with the Syracuse University Environmental Finance Center and WES on this program with the primary goal to get students interested in water careers that ultimately end up with internships and then hopefully careers with the water resource recovery utilities. And this is a really nice way for them to get their kind of foot in and get a little bit of experience put on the resume and hopefully help out our partner utilities with their staffing needs. So we're really pleased to have an audience here today ready for this program, and I hopefully invite all of you to ask any questions that you have and try to be engaged in this conversation. We don't want it to be a one-way dialogue. So if there's anything that comes up, please let us know. So for now, it's my pleasure to turn it over to Chris Dotson. He's NIWEA's Vice President and Associate Director at the Environmental Finance Center in Syracuse.
Thanks, Bill. And good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day. And unlike Bill, I've already raked my leaves, so I'm no longer worried about my bag. Yeah, as Bill said, NIWEA wanted to put this program together in large part because the Environmental Finance Center is one of 10 environmental finance centers around the country. And one of our sister centers, the Environmental Finance Center from Wichita in Kansas, had created the Work in Water program, and we, with NIWEA, wanted to replicate it here in New York. As many of you know, there are many challenges with our workforce these days. Whatever funny idiom you want to call it, the silver tsunami, but we have a lot of retirees, and we don't have necessarily a lot of interest coming in at the lower levels of the industry. The Brookings Institute, as you see here, developed a report in June of 2018 looking at the state of the water workforce, so both drinking water and wastewater and all related careers within the water workforce, and looked at how dire the situation is and suggested some things to try to begin to renew the water workforce. So if you haven't looked at this report, I suggest you do so. It's a relatively easy report to read. Here on this slide are 3 of the main points that they made. And so just very quickly, essentially what they found is, we are losing jobs through retirement, and we're also not able to attract a new workforce. And there's a few reasons for that. One is that folks just don't know about the water workforce. And so that's part of why we're running this program now. If we can get young people to understand what a career in the water industry looks like, maybe we can get them to actually participate in the water industry. Also, the folks who are most applicable for this type of job are maybe geographically in different places than where we need the jobs. So you can imagine some small rural water utilities struggling to find operators, but maybe in an urban or suburban area, we've got a lot of folks who could fill those positions, but they're not, they're not in the right place geographically for that position. So anyway, that's just a few points on that report and a few reasons why we are doing this program here in New York and trying to be proactive to get folks into the industry. We will hear from my colleague Tanya Braunlowee a little bit later, but this was really her brainchild. Again, this is my colleague from Wichita State in Kansas. And so this is a little introductory slide on her. And like I said, we'll hear from her a little bit later today. So I'd like to now introduce you to Jamie Rodriguez from the City School District, the Syracuse City School District. She works with their CTE program there, Career and Technical Education. And she's joined by her colleague, Susan Centaur. So I will yield the presentation over to the two of them to talk about how they engage, how to give us ideas on what their program is and ways that maybe utilities could better engage with schools. Susan and Jamie.
Hey, good morning, everybody. As Chris said, I work in the Syracuse City School District. I am a natural resources teacher here at the high school, at Nottingham High School. And our main goal as a CTE program is to expose students to different careers, get them exploring as many different options for their future as possible. And we do that through a variety of different ways. And this is how we can connect high schools, hopefully, to all of you out there watching. I utilize field trips, taking students to places like wastewater treatment plants. I utilize guest speakers, having them come in to speak to the students about what they do for their career and how they got into their particular career. Because like Chris said, a lot of students don't know what careers are out there and that these are possible jobs for them. We also use career mentors where adults in industries come in and give students the opportunity to interview them, work with them on a one-on-one basis or in small groups to foster sort of some work ethic and some maturity skills with those students. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm trying to, I share a workspace, so I apologize if there's feedback or noise. And we do a lot of career exploration. So anything I can do to show students what's out there. And I'm, any high school teacher would probably love to do the same. Our goal is to get students a future that they're going to enjoy. So that is my main role through the Natural Resources Program. Susan, do you have anything you want to add? And I'll mute my mic so people can hear you better.
I would just add that, so we in the Syracuse City School District, we are working with NIWEA through our CTE program because we have a Natural Resources Program, which is a perfect fit for that. But the goal always for us, no matter what program we connect people to or kids to, is to show them a really wide variety. It's really, when you're in high school, the whole goal is it's a safe place. You can explore everything. And if you decide, you explore all these things and you don't want any of those when you go to college and you decide you want something different, that's great. But kids, exactly what Jamie said, right now, kids don't understand what's available to them. They have no idea that there are jobs that you guys all have. They don't know how to get from where they are to any of your jobs. So the more we can enlighten students at a young age, that's huge. And for us too, a big piece of it is to be very deliberate. And when we talk to students about what we're learning in school and how it relates to the world of work, anything that we can do to help those kids connect what they're learning in school. Why are, when you guys all go to work, You don't do science from 9 to 10 and then math from 10 to 11. We need to show students that that's now how the world works. And even though they're used to doing things kind of compartmentalized in the world of work, the reason you need to know that algebra and the reason you need to know that earth science is because it all comes together in your job. And which, you know, answers the question, why do I need to learn this, right? If you're a ninth grader. And we want to be able to answer those questions because we want them to understand that what they're learning is valuable and it connects to where you can go in the future. But we are constantly trying to show them where they can go in lots of different opportunities. And you know, for kids to think that their job might be at the mall because that sounds like a great job, because they can get there and they know what that's all about. That's great, but we need to make sure there's lots of ways for them to understand that there's so many different opportunities with very different benefit packages and things like that for kids that they right now are totally not thinking about. And there are kids that we have that, you know, want to try to go to school and they want to go to college, but they don't know what they want to go to college for. There are kids that just really just want to go to work. They are, you know, want to just try something. And what we need to make sure to tell students is, and I think so often it's hugely important for somebody who's a professional to be able to highlight this for kids, that there is no perfect path, right? You didn't wake up one morning and say you wanted to be a water professional, right? There were lots of things that you learned, and you might have thought you were going to do this, and then you went, you know, a different route. So whether you go to college and that's what you want to do and learn more about it, that's a wonderful way to go. Or maybe you want to go to work, and then at some point maybe you want to go to college or take certain classes that will help you be better at your job. All things are possible is what we need to tell students, is that there's lots of different ways to get to the same place. And the opportunities that you guys all provide are wonderful jobs, right? They are life-changing jobs for a student who possibly grew up without a lot of, you know, they grew up in poverty. For them to have a job where they could have benefits and have a regular paycheck and have a living wage, and they can, you know, buy a house and have a car. That's what we want for kids. We want kids to do something that they really enjoy and that they have lots and lots of opportunities to have a different life than maybe the one that they led up to now. I would say that even though in the Syracuse City School District, we connect it to CTE because we have a natural resources program. If you are someplace where there are, and every high school has science classes, I would encourage you to even work with science teachers, because anytime we can connect what your jobs are all about to something that they're learning in school, we're opening some doors for students. So I would encourage you, even, I mean, certainly we love to have connections with the Syracuse City School District, and the more employers that we can bring in and the more time students can interview and talk to people, they're constantly learning. But if you are in a place where you don't have a CTE program that connects with yours, there's lots of science teachers that would love to be able to connect and show students how what they're doing in their classroom connects to these jobs that are available right in their neighborhood or in their area or in their geographic region. That's my spiel.
All right, thank you. I guess we have time for a quick question or two if anyone has a question. I will give it another second if anyone has questions to drop in the Q&A. Really, I'm just buying myself time to get to the website I need to get to.
I will just add that I'm looking at that we were supposed to talk about successful partnerships between schools and utilities. I think that Jamie talked about, you know, bringing kids out to a water authority for a day, bringing the professionals into the schools. We have a program where we have professionals come in 4 times a year. There are some programs that we have that meet their professional people once a month for a very small, like an hour. The students work with them just so that they can understand what the kind of jobs they are, and they learn to work with they kind of get used to the idea of working with adults, and they're able to share and understand that not all the adults woke up one morning and knew exactly what they were going to do. What kind of negatives do these jobs have and would have to be addressed with students? I don't know what the negatives are to your jobs, but so I guess I would ask somebody else to do that. But and I think you can make a connection with schools very easily. So I would encourage you to do, at least start, you can do job shadows where a few kids come out and maybe they come for 3 days a week in one situation, or just observing is huge.
Susan, I have another question that actually came through the question box, and I'm not sure that if you can see that. What kind of opportunities in the workforce can a water career provide? Additionally, what are some examples of projects that a water career could manage? Those questions maybe we can put out to the panelists, the whole panel. And then we have another chat question. I run a water operator training program for our community college. The program has been under-enrolled for years. Is there a marketing message I'm missing to try to help meet the demand that's being seen? Again, I think that's something that actually I might be addressing in my session here in just a second. But I'll leave that open for all the panelists if anyone would like to address some of these questions before we move on.
I do think that it's easier to start to connect with kids in high school to try to get them to understand what your jobs are. You're saying you're doing it at community college that has been under-enrolled. Mostly, I would bet it's because students coming into community college don't understand what those jobs are. So what we need to do is make a real big effort in high school is to really highlight the kind of positions that are available to students from that program, and highlight what these kind of jobs, what are the things that these people do, what is their background, what are the things that they really like about their job, because students need to hear that to be able to understand that there's more to it. Jamie, I don't know if you want to talk about a project. I don't see where that question is, but Jamie does a lot of really cool things with students that have connections with water. And
if you're asking for specific examples of projects, I know Tanya brought one of her operators into my classroom.
I think we may have lost Jamie. Sometimes these are only momentary blips.
This is Tanya. I'll pick up where she was heading. So I did take operators. I did take one of her classes to a local wastewater water resource recovery facility to tour the plant. And then I also, me and another operator have gone into her classroom. We did examples of anaerobic digestion, had lab samples so the kids in her class could look at the lab samples and identify the microorganisms that they were seeing based off of what we just taught them. And then we also had another separate operator that went into her classroom with me, and the students got to interview us and ask like how we got into the industry, what our job entailed, what we liked about it. And then to answer the other question, some of the ick factor, especially with the wastewater side, they kind of asked us questions about that and just promoted the careers to the students, which is what I go into in a little bit about promoting the industry and, sharing it with the students, because half the students don't even know this is a job opportunity for them until they hear it in a classroom setting. So Jamie and I have worked directly together, the NIWEA office and Jamie, to just engage her students and help them understand all the ins and outs of the industry, from water to wastewater to engineering to lab to anything that's available for them within the water sector. So I know Jamie cut out, but that's kind of where we were going with that.
Well, thanks, Tanya. I appreciate it. And it does look like Jamie dropped off the call, so her connection must have failed. So let's move on to the next session. Keep an eye, folks, on the chat because sorry, I cannot talk and do something at the same time. There we go. Keep an eye on the chat because there are some links and some comments and things floating around in there, including the DEC's, a link to the DEC's On the Front Lines videos, which actually may be useful in your outreach. There's also a link to the page that you see now, which is me sharing my screen. And that's what I'd like to do with the next few minutes is go through Wichita's work, their work in water experience materials as we develop these and replicate them for a New York audience. I'd like to give you a kind of a sneak peek at what it is they created. So this is their work in water page. And they've got a few videos. I think we're going to see one of these a little bit later today. What I really want to do is spend my time looking at the resources that they've developed. And so there was one comment about marketing materials and how to market to folks. So this engaging schools area includes all sorts of information, or not information, but materials and templates that you can use to use for marketing. So I'll just click on a few of these, see what comes up. So this is an example of a poster that you could see adding your own material, your own language here, and printing it out with your dates and the school name, et cetera, and hanging it in the halls of the school somewhere. Email templates, Facebook posts and Instagram pictures, a newspaper ad. Most kids may not know what a newspaper is these days, but we have all these materials here that can be used to help advertise your program. And again, the program could be a push-in into school, like, hey, next Thursday we're going to hear from a water operator, join us. Or it could be, as we'll talk a little bit later, the internship program. So moving on to the next bit, we have the classroom experience. And so this can be really helpful for utilities and representatives of the utility, operators, and others who come into the classroom. This could also be used for teachers who are trying to develop some curriculum on the water industry as part of a program that would engage utilities later through the internship program or a field trip or something like that. And so there's different activities here, which I won't take the time to go into too in depth, but just examples of things that you can do in class. So this is a hands-on lesson about source water and non-point source pollution. And so you can see the list of supplies and the overview of the activity. So this is something that you could do in a classroom. Different PowerPoints. So they had developed one for each state that they were working with. They're essentially the same, and I won't open these now just because I don't want to disrupt the screen share, but these are templates of overviews of the water utility that can be used in a classroom. Other materials that can be used, again, other materials that can be used to help you build your in-classroom experience. And then finally, and Tanya Braun-Louis from Wichita will talk about this in a minute, the internship program. And so there's a draft application here, interview questions if you wanted some help with questions to interview students for the internship program, and guidelines for the internship, a draft schedule. So, you know, sometimes we have folks who don't quite understand or can't quite think through how to keep the students busy. Well, this sample internship schedule is a way to get folks to think through gee whiz, we have this student for 10 weeks. What can we show them? What can they learn? What can we get help with just by having them on the premises? And then some capstone guidelines. So at the end of the internship, the students could develop a capstone presentation and the capstone guidelines and some capstone examples, which I think maybe Tanya might cover, so I don't want to steal her thunder. And if she doesn't, then we can loop back and talk about those later. So I think for now, that's pretty much the brief overview I wanted to give of the materials that are available to you. I think the point here is that Wichita did such a really good job of preparing this program so that it can be plug and play anywhere, and we're very happy that they did, because it makes it easy for us to translate this program over to New York, develop some of our own materials, and help both our school and our utility audiences engage students in the water utilities or the water industry. So that said, I would like to introduce Tanya Jennings, who is going to talk a little bit about the facility tour experience. And then from there, we'll hear from Tanya Braunlewey from Wichita.
Okay. I'll introduce myself real quick. I'm Tanya Jennings, and I work for the NIWE Executive Office in Syracuse, New York, and I handle the wastewater certification for the entire state of New York. So every operator that has to be certified per the DEC, which is the regulatory agency, we review the applications and approve them, and then make sure they stay certified during their time working in the field. So it's a very important job. And one of the things that we do is in community engagement and outreach. I work a lot, like mentioned earlier. I've gone out and worked with the Syracuse City School District. We've done career fairs. We've done, just different types of events to engage students and adults, to let them know that this industry is out there, and just to create awareness. One of the biggest things I found is getting individuals to tours, if they can get to a plant tour. Whereas if you're a utility, inviting the community in and allowing them to see, what you do is important, because if they see it, they understand it, and it creates interest, and then word of mouth, circulates. And that's how we're going to get these younger generations into the field, is by just letting them know that this field is out there. So if you have the opportunity to tour a facility, or if you work at a utility, have a program to have tours at your facility. We do have some videos of tours, but today we're going to just kind of go over the small simplified process of what happens at a wastewater treatment facility. So I'm going to share my screen here. I apologize. I'm new to this whole sharing screen thing, but I hope you can see that. So, so what is wastewater, and what is it? What happens? So when your dirty water, as we call it, leaves your plant or leaves your house, it goes to a facility to be cleaned 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We consider these operators our unsung heroes, because it directly impacts our public health. So anything that goes down the drain, the sink, the shower, the toilet, when we wash your car, anything that gets into our sewer system has to be treated by these operators. So it's a huge undertaking, especially in today with like flushable wipes, which are not really flushable. They go down the drain, but they impact our sewer systems and clog the pipes and cause extra work for our operators. So, understanding what goes down the drain and understanding how it's cleaned is important, I believe, for anyone involved, no matter the age, to help, make sure that the process for these operators is cleaned. Like if you flush medicines down the drain, instead of throwing them away in the trash, or a local resource community center for the medicines, that impacts the chemicals within the water and the makeup, and then the operators have to treat that as well. So wastewater is a really important field, and really important to understand how it impacts all of us on an everyday life. So this is the first step when it comes to a treatment facility, is what we call screening. And this is where, if the flushable wipes were getting down the drain, where it would get caught kind of to the right, you can see an impact, like a clogged up drain. Lots of things get caught here. There's a facility down in New York City who has caught turtles that have come through the city pipes and sewer systems. And they've actually taken the turtles and they raise them now at their plant. There's a turtle pond right in the facility. So it's kind of neat, but anything big, debris, flushable wipes, trees, anything that gets down the sewer system gets caught in this first screening. So they manually have, machines that pull out the debris, and then they have to take that debris and, put it into a trash bin and take it to a landfill. So the bigger stuff that gets down the drain does impact us directly because it goes to a landfill and has to go, get put away there. So that's the first step. My slides today are simplified because of time, but there's a lot more steps involved, but I'm just going to go over the main processes today. So after it goes to screening, it goes into what we call primary settling. And in this process, the lighter objects like our oils, fats, and grease go to the top. And then our heavier objects like our solids go to the bottom, which is like our primary sludge. And the primary sludge is filtered out through the bottom of the tank. And then the top part, the oils and fats and grease are skimmed off. So the operators have to manually go in and help with the clarifiers or whatever their primary settling function is and get rid of all the grease and fats. And then also take out the heavier objects. So if you can see in the middle, that's our bacteria kind of floating comfortably in there as it's all the rest of the stuff is getting settled out. So after it settles through this primary settling tank, the water then transfers to what we call biological treatment. And this is actually my favorite part of the treatment. They introduce oxygen, anaerobic digestion, chemicals, anything to help treat the biological treatment within the facility. So, it's a process to help basically kill the good bugs, kill like the bad bugs. And this is the process where I mentioned earlier when I went into Jamie's school, we took the, what we consider the good bugs and a sample of the activated sludge water, and the students were allowed to look under the microscopes and see what they could see and then identify them and understand the process of what is happening within that water system. They really liked that. I think that it engaged them to see, living organisms in this water and how it was naturally cleaning the water. So I think it was a really neat process for the students to see, other than just like seeing dirty water, they got to actually see it being cleaned naturally under the microscope. So it was a pretty neat process for the students. And we've actually taken this to NIWEA events. We've done this at NIWEA events. We've taken as much as we can to engage the community and see the process of how the water's cleaned. And then it goes to our secondary settling, which is just like the primary settling, but it's just helping get the heavy stuff that's still in our water out of the water. We want to get the water as clean as possible. We've gotten rid of any big stuff at the beginning process, and then the settling and the first primary settling. And now this is where the secondary settling takes out the heavier objects again. And the heavier objects are taken out and put into a solids press, and they can be pressed out and made into, taken to landfills or reused in other processes. So some facilities have zero waste, where they have used the off products of their process and created energy and heat and cakes for their farms and stuff. So it's a really neat process, but it's a secondary settling process that happens here. And then one of the last processes that they go through is disinfection. So this is where they kill the remaining bugs that are in our what we consider our dirty water. They use it either by UV or disinfection, chlorine gas cylinders, which is what you can see there at the bottom. It's just making sure that anything that's leaving that facility and going into our local waterways is clean and best and safest for the environment. So these operators have to disinfect it. And if you can see to the right of that picture, that's a disinfection tank, how clear that water is comparatively of what we would have seen coming through our bar screens. So that's quick overview of what the operators do. I think I showed 5 slides here, but there's probably 7 to 9 processes within a facility that these operators have to do every single day. And when the water flow, like when we have rain or snow melting, this increases their flow. So then they have more, a bigger process to handle at that time. But they do handle this year round. And so it's a worldwide job to help clean our environment and to, protect the public health locally. So I do encourage, I'm going to get out of my share screen here. Okay. Can you still see me? Okay. Encourage utilities to get students in and tour the facility and let them see what you're doing, or and go out to your community, do career fairs, do local chats with your science teachers, anything you can do just to create the interest. I find the more that I talk to students about where the water goes when they flush their toilet and they understand it, the more excited they get to be like, wow, I didn't realize all that happened at my, at my house or in my local community. So, just getting the interest out there is great. So that's kind of an overview of a tour. We do have some tour videos. If you're interested, we can send you the tour video. And then some facilities have them posted online. If you're, not able to get to one, you can look online and find them as well, or we can send them to you.
Thanks, Tanya.
You're welcome.
So now we have another Tanya, Tanya Braunlowee from Wichita State Environmental Finance Center. And she's going to talk for a few minutes. And Tanya, thank you for your time. Tanya wedged us in between 2 other things she's got going on this morning. So we appreciate your time in talking a little bit about the program you developed and specifically the internship experience.
Sure. So good morning. I'm so excited to be talking to you about the Work in Water program. And so I heard one of the questions earlier, we've got this program, we're training water operators at our local community college. How do we get more students interested in this program? And just a couple of, my 2 cents or side notes to this about that question. First of all, talk to them before they have to start making decisions about college. And that's kind of where this program comes in, reaching out to high school students in a way that is educational, but also talks to them about careers in this field. So, we're going into schools with this program and just saying, here's how, water and wastewater works in your community, but we're also saying, hey, and now meet these people at your water tour of your local facility or that are coming into your classroom. Talk to them about why they're excited about the jobs that they do. I mean, I've met a lot of people that work at wastewater treatment plants, and they're some of the funnest people, and I would love to work with them every day. And so if you just get those folks in front of students, they might feel the same way. And actually, I was on a tour at a wastewater treatment plant with a group of students, but also the career counselor. And the career counselor leans over to me and says, hey, I might have gone into the wrong career. This place seems pretty fun, like a pretty fun and great place to work. And just because the people that they were talking to were sharing about why they love doing what they do, that they do what they do, recycling that water within the community to protect their friends and family, to protect the environment. It's how they're making a difference in making their communities better. And so that message is very valuable when you're talking to young people and trying about, what can they do with the rest of their lives? And then also, Gen Z, this new generation of students coming up in the field, they want jobs that are stable. They're living through 2020 like we all are. And so stability just seems really wonderful right now, doesn't it? And good jobs, stable jobs, jobs that bring a positive impact to the community. Those are all super great messages to send about the jobs that you have available at your utilities. So I really encourage you just to have your folks continue to share. And when we talk to college and career counselors about the value of this program, they oftentimes say showing students that they can have high quality jobs either right out of high school or after college or a couple of years in college is really important. And showing them their jobs other than doctor, lawyer, teacher, that kind of thing. And jobs that aren't just in an office. There's lots of students that don't want to sit at a desk all day, or people who are working in jobs that sit at desks all day and like, I want to get out of here. So there's some really great messages that can entice people to come and work with us in the water industry. Excuse me. So going back on big part, or the part that we like best about this program is the internship part. And so, the way the program was developed for our region, but again, it's your baby now, you can take it in any direction you want, but we would go into schools and do the school classroom program and the field trip. And then those students who participated in that could then apply to be an intern for the summer. We also have some utilities that are doing during the school year internships, so like an after school or Saturday internship throughout the school year, just whatever works best in, for your utility and the schedule of the students and the utility. Do it the way you want, but the internship is really fun. We always have the best students apply. This next generation is pretty awesome. They're motivated, they're interested, they really want to do great things and learn from experienced individuals and experienced professionals in the field. So, be sure to share stories with them, stories of successes, stories of failure, what works well, what didn't work well, a time when you messed up but then made it better. Those are the types of stories that you can share with them throughout their internship. The internship program, it's if you have a student come on and they're there for the summer, the goal of the internship program is not just the summer help that does painting and lawn care around the facility. The goal of the program is really to give that student, you're basically, this is recruitment or like advertising your job to the student. And even if that one student doesn't come back and work, they're going to tell the story about their internship to all their friends, to their family. Their influence may actually bring you your next great employee. So don't feel like if that one student that you did the internship with doesn't go directly into the water field, you never know how that student could influence somebody else or how their career path might circle back someday. So really invest in the interns that come to your facility. Show them the breadth and depth of experiences at your facility. So of course, there might be some lawn care, there might be some painting or cleaning of bathrooms. That's what the job is. We all have parts of our job that include cleaning bathrooms. And so, that's part of it. But the main part of it should be following those folks in the lab, following distribution or collection, folks out in the facility, whatever work is being done, invite that student to come with you, show them, let them do parts and pieces of it that's safe. I wouldn't give them the keys to the forklift unless they've been properly trained, but, show them the different ways they can provide value, the goal is to let them do and experience as much as possible. So when it's safe and appropriate, let them, give them a task, show them how it's done, and then step away and let them do that. Always be talking about the value of the work that's being done. So even if something seems really mundane or really, something that, doesn't seem that exciting, tell them why it's being done. We're cleaning this thing and it's grunt work and it is not fun and it is dirty and smelly, but that's okay because this is why we're doing it. This is how this work improves the process or makes the water safer, makes our community safer. Being sure to reiterate those messages for all the work that they do, showing them how it fits into the process. Have them go downtown and work with the clerk to do billing, have them sit in on a city council meeting and see how decisions are made about the budget for which pays for them and the facility. Get them involved in all the parts and pieces of the system, of the utility. Go check meters, all those different things. Take them along, give them that really wide experience. And then Chris did mention the capstone project. So we developed, we wanted the students to have some sort of takeaway or some sort of thing to show you know, how did the student enjoy the internship, or what did they learn? We wanted something we could have, because again, this was from a grant and we wanted to show the grantors that, you know, we're making a difference. But I loved the capstone projects, and I mean, it's a good time investment for those students to, you know, think through, okay, I've done this thing for the summer. What have I learned? How can I encapsulate that into something that I can share with others? So we've had capstone projects be everything from a presentation at our statewide AWWA water WEA conference. We've had students do videos. There's on our website, there's a link to a couple of videos that students did about the water and wastewater treatment plant process. I had one student do a presentation for their fellow students in class the next year. They did the internship between their junior and senior year, so they did a presentation to their class for their capstone, just talking about what they learned in their experience over the summer. So your interns are not only helping you for the summer, and you're hopefully getting them kind of wooed into the water field, but they're also going out and influencing all sorts of folks in your community and presenting that message of the value of the service that you provide and that the water and wastewater treatment systems provide to the community. So they're going to be your best advertisements out there and best recruitment tools. I'm trying to think what else. We have some, Chris showed you on the website, we have an internship section with just ideas. And in those interviews, be sure to ask questions that show not what they know about water and wastewater treatment, because they're not going to know anything, and that's okay. That, you know, they're going to come in and they're going to learn from you. You want to find that student that's motivated, that's excited, that is curious and wants to learn, that's really going to fit in with the folks that already work in your facility and that they'll spend time with every day. Excitement and, you know, curiosity, I think, are the two things that you really want to look for. And so ask questions that, you know, that bring that out, that help answer that question. You know, is this student going to be excited and motivated and show up? And we have, so far in our group, we've done 7 interns, and they've all been great and amazing. They've all not gone into the water industry, but they've all walked away with an enhanced knowledge and appreciation for that, and then are sharing that with everybody that they come in contact with. And I'm going to let Chris play a video from the utility director of Ottawa, Kansas, and he's going to share about why he likes bringing interns into his community or into his utility.
Hello, my name is Dan Riney, and I'm the superintendent of the Ottawa, Kansas Water Reclamation Facility. I'd like to take a few minutes and share our experience with the Work in Water internship program. We are in our 3rd year of the program and have had a great deal of success. The water plant superintendent and I present an overview of the program to all eligible junior and senior high school students each spring. This past year, we reached approximately 50 students and then had 12 of those students apply for the intern position. At least one of our past interns is pursuing a career in municipal utility work. We feel that those that do not follow a career path in our profession certainly become advocates for what we do and how we do it. The capstone projects these interns produce have been of extreme quality, and we have incorporated them into our annual presentation to the next year's potential candidates. The biggest challenge facing the water industry today is where is the operator of tomorrow. I feel the Work in Water intern program is a huge step in helping to combat this growing concern. If you would like to discuss the program or any details of how we work the program any further, please feel free to contact me at any time. My phone number is 785-250-9913. Thank you for your time.
And Dan is serious. He gave you his phone number. If you have questions or want to talk about his experience with interns, he is more than excited to talk to you about that. And I'm too. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or shout them out.
Great, thanks, Tanya. My name is Patricia Ciro Reedhill. I'm the Executive Director of the New York Water Environment Association. And what a tremendous program you have, Tanya. You really, this was your brainchild, and we're honored to follow in your footsteps and appreciate your openness and sincerity, truly, that allow us to mirror the good work that you've done. So it's my pleasure to talk about the details of the mini grant and the opportunities that abound this morning. So first of all, by participating in this session is the first step in letting us know that you are indeed interested. So next, we're looking to have you submit an interest form that's going to be circulated after this meeting. And that interest form puts on record that your municipality might like to engage in the internship process. The students at the schools that will circulate this to will also submit an internship, an interest form. And essentially, we're looking to do some matchmaking. So we're looking to match up municipalities with the students in your regional areas. Since our last webinar in September, we took a little closer look at the budget, and we're estimating that we can fund up to 8 internships. We are expecting that this is going to be competitive. Payments will be made directly from NIWEA to the municipality in a lump sum for them to pay interns directly, and that keeps the relationship between the students and the municipality clear. Ultimately, the goal is threefold. First, to increase the knowledge and give greater exposure to water careers to high school guidance counselors as well as science teachers. Secondly, to increase the knowledge of the importance of water careers to the students, right? And then make sure we're making that connection between protecting public health and the environment. And the last connection is to link up the students and the municipalities in their region, so that it ends up being, a paid internship. So we're looking, as I said, for 8 internships to be created in the summer of 2021. When we first came up with the idea to write this grant, we knew we could make a tangible difference. We've seen the Wichita program and what they're doing. Our parent organization understood this as well. And so now we need your assistance to really make this program a success. So I hope that you will all consider submitting the interest form and participating in the program. And at this point, we are going to open it up for questions. Actually, I'm going to turn it over to Meredith.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. And thanks for joining us, everybody. This is, oh, great. I'm keeping my eye on the chat, and I just want to let folks know that Tanya shared Dan's phone number, the Director of Utilities. Some folks were asking about that, Director of Utilities in Ottawa, Kansas. So his phone number is in the chat. And as Patricia noted, please add questions to the question and answer panel. And my colleague behind the scenes, Tess Clark, is making it here in Zoom so that everybody will be able to chat with us now and ask questions. And I encourage folks to turn on their microphones once she has had a chance to make it available to everybody. It takes a few minutes. And if you want to make your video available too, all those controls in Zoom are down in the left-hand corner. You'll see a little microphone, mute and unmute, and you'll see a little video icon. And as I said, Tess Clark is making it so that folks can have access to those controls at this time, but it takes a few minutes to get all of that worked out. So what I'd like to do now is I wanted to engage our panelists. We've had some good questions coming in. And as Patricia noted, this part of the webinar is our chance to kind of chat back and forth about some of the things that you as participants are thinking about, answer questions about this good program, and there's been some neat ideas coming across. I want to talk about one of those ideas that's come through on the questions and answer panel with the, sorry, I'm using the word panel, but with our panelists, one of the things that's come into the Q&A. And that is, it's an interesting thought. It's essentially a quote, a feeder program. So having students come through a feeder type program, an Earth Corps sort of program or environmental club that encourages students if they have so that they can have an advantage to learning about these careers and maybe taking advantage, learning about internships and taking advantage of those opportunities. So I wanted to address this to the panel, possibly Patricia or Bill, if he's still with us. And Chris, you may know about this too, about whether or not there are like a green jobs track or environmental clubs or sort of a feeder program. Is that a possibility?
Yes. So we have an opportunity with the Water Environment Federation's Inflow program. This is a way to engage our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee with what's going on right now in the world. What we're trying to do is make sure we're exposing water careers to minority populations, and the Federation's Inflow program does just that. So we were on a conference call with the chair of our committee, Walt Walker, the other day, and just chatting about how we could engage with, right here in Syracuse, we're familiar with the Onondaga County Earth Corps. So I think this really speaks to that. They've already got a mechanism of getting minority populations engaged. Why don't we make sure water careers are introduced to them through that?
Okay, great. Does anybody else have any thoughts about that sort of program that really kind of helps cue students up for this kind of career, and also to regarding funding for a program like that, like funding sources, if anybody has any thoughts or ideas?
This is Andy Riley. I'm the one that bugged you about the whole feeder concept. A lot of our students go for summer jobs with CNY Works.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what if there was something with Onondaga County with CNY Works, if some of our students had that opportunity, maybe if there were any positions. And I know it can be a dangerous place at the treatment plant, but all the other pieces that we were talking about, even with we're talking about even the government pieces, anything, if CNY Works students had an opportunity who had an interest, that may be a nice way to, again, introduce them a little bit more, or at least like engage them if they showed some interest to really start to solidify and to move forward, and maybe in this being a career for them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good points, Andrea. Thank you. Yeah, Andy, those are good thoughts. And panel, please jump in if you have any thoughts about that. Okay, so there's a good kind of nuts and bolts question coming in from Joe Fiegel. So the target for the internships, graduating seniors are younger high school students?
Juniors or seniors, Joe.
Okay.
And we targeted, we targeted those ages, first of all, because a number of utilities can't even have students come and work for them unless they're 18. So we wanted to make sure that, we weren't educating freshmen and then none of them could be an intern. So we're focusing on juniors and seniors, just in case. Plus they're older, they're thinking about careers. It's kind of more in the front of their brains. And so we're just targeting it towards the older students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. They've got that sense of urgency and thinking about, okay, what am I going to do after high school? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Very
Plus,
good.
I'm guessing not a lot of us want to have a freshman tagging along with us all summer. Not that freshmen are bad. They're just a little squirrelier than like a junior or a senior.
Still in that goofy zone. That's okay. That makes sense to me. Oh, good. And
Hey, Meredith, it's Maura at ESF.
yes, hi, Maura.
And I work with Jamie and a few other folks here on the
Mhm.
group with the high school kids. What I mean, obviously Jamie's great because she gets to do all these wonderful tours. I wonder if there are more open house opportunities that can be opened up to the freshmen and the sophomores to have a day of, and the juniors too, of understanding something before they apply and really don't know what they're getting into, and then using those resources. I think that Andrea mentioned, CNY Works and the Onondaga Earth Corps kids, so that could be part of their thing. And then we got NESB over at Nottingham and the Syracuse City Schools, like the Association for Black Engineers. There's lots of great groups out there. And then I'm also wondering, after a student's done that one summer internship, are there opportunities for them to come back and to keep that relationship going so that they do kind of, bite it off and say, I'm going to do this job, because they might be doing a 2-year program or you come back and you get something, or there's a project to go on. So those are just comments.
Oh, good. So Patricia and Tanya, it'd be great to hear from you. At the top of Maura's, what Maura was saying was also too about open houses, which is a neat idea. But Patricia, you've got a thought.
Yeah, no, I just thank you, Maura. This is great synergy, and I'd love to hear more about the Society for Black Engineers and your connections. So we should connect after this. Ultimately, what we want is a positive internship experience that will result in employment, and that's really what we're looking to do here. However we can do that, right, Tanya?
Yeah.
And there's a piece too where folks from utilities, if you're listening in, that's an interesting thought that Maura brings up, is that continuity piece. So if you've got a student who comes through in the internship program, I imagine this is probably at the top of your minds anyway, but is there a way to make a path for them? How do you convey to them that you want them to come back? And that's something that is really doable. Most of us do that in most work settings, is how can you make sure that, your folks, your interns who are really interested in good have a pathway to come back and maybe join you for formal employment. So, and that's the idea of an internship. Sometimes they really do turn into jobs. It's good. Just to confirm.
Can I just add something on Patricia's thing? Because she said a word. Synergy. Are you familiar with Synergy? Are you familiar with the program Synergy?
No. ESF is involved in that. Dr. Carter, Malika Carter, has taken on a number of the Synergy interns. And I was thinking the same thing, Andrea.
Yeah, that'd be
There's a couple of these. Cool
you could actually, if we had some of those kids, this would be I could just see where it goes. You would actually be able to, if we had some kids, 11th, 12th grade, get accepted to a Synergy program, which is right here, and Maura knows about it. The kids could still come back with summer internships and to stay with you and to keep going. That would be beautiful. You could have kids for the next 2 to 4 years during the summer who are getting college educated in their career. Oh my gosh.
And someone else is paying for it.
They actually do college credit for internships and everything. I could see a lot going on there.
Yeah, because the host school or site doesn't pay for them. They get paid through some other funding source. So they have to spend Fridays, I think, doing professional development. They have to do a program, and it's really an awesome program.
That is really neat. So Andy or Maura, if you all are able to share a link to the Synergy program through the chat, that would be really helpful. So the rest of us can take a look and get an idea of a little bit more about that program. That would be really great.
Maura, do you have that? Because they used to do high school going into college, but now they only do students who are directly into college.
Yeah, I will. I'll look. I'll see what I can find.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Any other questions that are coming up right now for folks who want to jump in And again, you can, oh, go ahead.
One thing that the whole reason we're doing this is to give greater exposure to the industry, to our water quality profession. And I'm so pleased with the turnout that we've had at this event today and the one that we had in September. So I have high hopes, but now we're really looking to improve, of course, communication. So essentially the general public understands what happens when you flush the toilet and that these careers are rewarding and connect public health and the environment. So I think it was Andrea, or maybe it was Maura, who was talking about the open house idea. You know, we're trying to also empower municipalities to, you know, communicate better and help give them better tools to communicate the good work that goes on at their facilities, many 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I think we have several municipalities here today. I'd like to maybe just engage with them. Joe and Angel, do either of you have direct connections with schools right now?
And just a reminder that you will need to unmute yourself. Joe?
Yeah, no, I don't have any direct contacts with schools. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to listen in on this conversation, was to really kind of figure out the best ways to do that. I mean, other than a couple high school classes here or there that come through and do tours, and we have periodically gone into classes, but that's really been the schools reaching out to us as opposed to us reaching out to the schools and bringing them in. And I think we need to be a little more deliberate about doing that.
Good thought.
Joe, and I just encourage you, when it's time to do that you reach out, you know, if you've got a connection with a teacher or something, you know, you can go that route. But I had some pretty good success cold calling or cold emailing the college and career counselors at the schools. Mm-hmm. They're always, you know, colleges send them all sorts of stuff and, you know, tours and pamphlets and flyers and all sorts of stuff, but they don't have a whole lot for, you know, potential careers right out of high school, or even, you know, 2-year schools or a, you know, a tech program that leads you to become a water operator. So, you know, you would be something new and different, and something they're super excited about, because they know students, they can identify students. Like if you say, I mean, we just went in and said, hey, we have this work in water experience. Do you have students that have these skills or have these interests that might fit and would want to do this, you know, program with us? And every school counselor had right away a group of 20, 25 students that were interested and ready and just joined the program. So yeah, the college and career folks are great.
Yeah, we've done very well with at least our scholarship program of reaching out to the counselors and getting folks that are looking to move on to college and into environmental careers. But I think where I really see this benefit, and obviously for this program, is that we can find the folks that may not be looking at college as a career, but are good with working with their hands, have mechanical skills, electrical skills. You know, as you mentioned, don't want to be sitting behind a desk. You know, those are the type of opportunities I think we're missing right now, and where I think we can really start to grow.
And again, the young people are going to be, especially young people, I think right now, are going to be super excited about a stable career, a good paying career that they can just go into. I think the millennial college debt problem has scared a lot of the next generation for, you know, starting something in a college that may or may not pay off in this economy. So yeah, I think it's prime, and I think we could see a lot of success in this process.
That's good. Tanya brings up some really good points. I just want to remind folks to keep an eye on the chat. Just quickly, Maura from SUNY ESF has put her email in the chat. She has contacts with high schools across New York State, so that's helpful. And also too, I want to bring to everybody's attention that we have an interest form. So NIWEA has an interest form for utilities and schools to fill out in terms of this particular program that we're talking about today. So there's a link It's a Google Docs link, and we'd love for you to fill out that link. And again, we've got Emily Sheridan from New York State DEC sharing some information with us about potential funding opportunities. And just a reminder, there's a lot of good things coming through on that chat list. Any other questions for us right now that you folks want to engage the panelists about? Feel free to jump in.
Yeah, Meredith, Dave
Yes.
Fanti from North Tonawanda Water. How are you today?
Great, good. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We're in Western New York. Does this program extend out to us?
Of course.
Okay. We've had our environmental issues class from the high school and the biology class.
Awesome.
On some field trips that we were able to fund with a New York State DEC EJ grant. How should we proceed to, would this be a good feeder program to get these kids into an internship?
Yes, definitely. So I'm going to encourage everybody really to, of course, we've got your contact information, but I would encourage you to fill out that interest form. Let me repaste that link just so everybody has it, and we'll send it in our follow-up email. So that interest form is a good link to this program. But yeah, we're excited that folks are interested. Patricia, you've got a thought?
I'm sorry, Meredith. David, I believe you already submitted a form, right?
Oh, great.
Yes, we did.
Yes. Okay. So David is our poster child. So here we have the municipality that has submitted the form, and actually he took it one step further. He already has a relationship with the school and is doing great things. So David was part of our September meeting, and we got to know each other a little bit personally, and he told me what's going on at his facility. So he's really engaged in an amazing way, because he's also part of a nonprofit organization that's it's a botanical garden, right, David?
That's correct.
Oh yeah, great.
Right. So connecting with students on botanical garden and the water resource recovery facility. So he's kind of off the charts, and he's going to write an article for Clearwater's magazine, and the photos are going to be spectacular because of the botanical garden, right? So yes, David, thank you for being on the call. I see Craig Hertow is on from Albany County. Craig, do you have a contact with the schools? I have to get with him offline.
Yeah. And if Craig is, there we go.
Yeah, more of ESF again. I would love to see when we can do summer programs again in person, that maybe we do something that ties the academic side to the practical side. Where we do things with Jamie's group over at Nottingham, students at Elm, Salve, a couple of the Syracuse area things. We call them camps. They're really, the teachers have to participate, but also maybe some teacher education that involves some of these things. It's practical. So we, the chemistry, biology, other types of teachers that, so they can have an understanding. We did stuff with, business and education partnerships before, where we offered teachers to go to these kind of to go to an engineering firm or something and learn what it meant to do that for a day kind of thing. So I could see having the open house be more hands-on for chemistry, bio, or whatever kind of teachers, tech teachers, whatever. That would be a really cool thing to offer them for professional development opportunity for them. And I know we can offer CTLE credits, and other people can too as well. So there's a little different avenue to get into it.
Great idea, Maura.
Yeah, that's great. Good. So any other thoughts coming in, just do feel free to let me know. You may need to unmute yourself to be able to contribute to the conversation. And I wanted to come back to a question. I'm not sure we came came fully around to it and answered it. It came through the chat box and early on in the webinar, but are there negatives? So this is for our NIWEA folks. Do you feel like there's negatives that the jobs have that need to be addressed with students? I think Tanya talked a little bit about, you know, sometimes during the internship, things need to be well explained so that students understand what's happening. But are there things that the utility folks or even teachers listening in, are there things that would be good to talk about with students in terms of the pros and cons?
Tanya? Tanya, with
I mean, I think, you know, some of the deterring factors that I've seen in engaging with students is that it's shift work. You know, it's not a Monday through Friday job. It's not just a daytime job. It is shift work. So sometimes that's a deterrent. But I think if you outweigh, you know, if you show them the pros and the cons and the benefits of what their shift work is, and their, you know, it normally their state jobs or, you know, good benefits as far as that goes, but they don't look into that. They look at, you know, why I want to work Monday through Friday. I don't want to work weekends, but the benefits sometimes outweigh that factor. And also the ick factor. I think, you know, even in me, I don't work in the industry, but if I say I do wastewater certification, immediately people think, oh, you know, you work with dirty water. But if you really tour a plant and you see it, it's not an ick factor. I mean, it is on some level, but not what they're thinking in their mind. So, you know, getting rid of that perception of the industry at a younger age is huge. And then, you know, just letting them know that, you know, what they're doing for the environment in their local communities and public health is another benefit that they might not realize or even think about on their day. You know, to them it's just a job, but they're having better, you know, they're impacting their local communities on a higher level than they realize that they're doing.
Those are cool ways to look at it.
Yeah, we're kind of at this, you know, like this paradigm shift with the industry. So the Water Environment Federation just partnered with you know, Matt Damon, and you know, so there's this movie star factor that we have now to try to convey that there really isn't waste in wastewater, that it's all reuse. And that's really, you know, that's the pride that we should be able to impart in these careers. That this, you know, these people are lucky to have jobs that are protecting public health and the environment at the same time. So, yeah, the ick factor is something, it's a mindset, and I think you've got to just, you know, go beyond that.
Seems like the tours are really good for something like that too, is getting students to tour through. I like the idea, maybe that was from Maura, about having teachers also tour. So touring the plants and people can get familiar with it. That seems like a really golden opportunity. So
I just wanted to add in, I know they talked about local communities. So if you're in the Onondaga area, the Onondaga Metro Plant does a clean water fair every single year. So, I mean, if you're not in the Onondaga area, looking at your local communities to offer something like that, where they engage the community and they invite people in to tour the plant, and they have vendors set up and prizes for the kids, and just make it a fun environment and not a, oh, I'm passing that, you know, that dirty water plant. It's a great thing to have. So if you're in the local Onondaga area, checking out the Clean Water Fair every year is a great opportunity as well.
And those probably happen elsewhere in New York, around in New York State too. So yeah, that's a good idea. That's good. So that's good. This is a little bit of a one-off. We had a participant want us to make sure that we mentioned tertiary sewage treatment too. So that goes back some to that really important clean water piece that Patricia was mentioning. And to me, it's like, you know, to be able to get across to students and put, you know, future employees that this big picture thinking of this is the way that we keep our, you know, we have clean water resources for our communities. And I thought Tanya had some interesting thoughts about things to share with students in terms of thinking big picture about the job. While it's shift work, it's still possible to receive some really good benefits, and it's good employment. And then again, if anybody's got any thoughts or questions, just feel free to chime in. And we've covered our questions really pretty well. right now. So I'm thinking we can begin to start to wrap up unless we have some thoughts from the panel. Any other specifics to share about the mini grant program, Patricia, that you wanted to share with folks?
Submit them, right? For those municipalities on the call, we're looking for full engagement, and I hope you can do that. David, I know you already have, but Angel and Craig, Joe, any other municipality on the line, we'd love to make sure we have 8 internships this summer. That is our goal.
Great.
It might be a little lofty, Tanya, with an O. I was just looking at your program. You ended up with 5, right? So first year out of the box, we're looking at 8 because we just know there's the need. And geographically, I didn't get to do it before this this call today, but we have interest from all the regions of the state. So I'm so pleased about that. From Long Island to Western New York and everything in between, we have had representation on these webinars. So hopefully we'll see applications come in for each one of those regional areas and be able to engage with students. I thank you all for your time, all the panelists and everyone who's registered here today, and we'll look forward to reporting back on this and hopefully continuing this program in 2021 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much to everybody. Just one last sweep for questions, and I just chime in if you've got any. And
Oh,
then
I
also,
do. I have a question.
Go for
So
it.
when you get your sites, your municipalities, can you send that list out and then I can target my schools that are in that area?
I will absolutely be in touch more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's a great opportunity. I think I would have had fun with it too. So my next life.
Great. Okay, good. And I wanted to give a big thank you to all of our panelists who've joined us today. So Susan, who had to hop off, and Jamie from the Syracuse City School Districts. It's really helpful to be able to hear y'all's perspective. And then everybody from NIWEA and Tanya from Wichita State Environmental Finance Center. This is really helpful for us to be able to get the word out about this really cool program. It's exciting. And so next steps, really, please submit your interest form. Watch for our follow-up email, which will have some good, helpful links. And we're really hoping to see that fully subscribed program. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think it's going to be really doable. Many thanks to Patricia for spearheading all of this for New York State. All right. Well, great. So thank you all, and watch out for that email following up for us. And I hope everybody has an awesome day. I know upstate New York, it's really beautiful, and hope you can get outside, get some sunshine. And again, thanks everyone.
Thank you.